We are live. Of course, we got to introduce with it. Dean music. Here we go. The drop's coming here. Here we go. Yeah, Dean Mason, addicted, man.
Yeah.
Oh, here we come. Here we go. Here we go. I love this part, man.
Yeah, right?
The build-up is crazy. Come on. Give me some hands, baby.
Right? There you go. Fist pump.
You gotta do the pump, man.
There's a break dance right there, baby.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Money Smart guy Matt Sapala here. Hailing team with my Money Smart Movement Team headquarters in Oak Brook Terrace, Illinois. Guess what? Real estate, mortgages, mortgage professional, realtor, broker, exposing the insurance industry. I've got in with me on the stream. We've got my money man, Money Mace, John Mason, out of Orlando, Florida. Recently relocated from Jacksonville down to Orlando, out there in Central Florida. And right there with him, referred by his brother G. Mason, we've got also Nick Watson, who's from Jamaica, man.
God, man.
And Mr. Bodybuilder himself, Steven Tarashol. What's going on, gents?
What's going on, Matt? How we doing, brother?
Man, listen, let's jump right into it. We got people logging in right now. Andre Jackson's on, Misty Pagan's on, Richard Washington Jr.'s on, Arturo Marina's on, Kimberly Michelle is on. Let's talk about exposing the insurance industry, what it is, man. So who got contacted first by Dean Mason? What was the process like?
Actually,
Steve.
It was myself. We were up in Pittsburgh, actually at a bodybuilding competition. My wife was competing, and I'm there hustling on the computer doing mortgage stuff, of course. And Dean reaches out to us when we were in between shows and asked us about if we're interested, what we did for business, what we did for work. He looked us up, and then he asked us if we're interested in coming into the grand opening in Orlando. We were in Pittsburgh, and we told him we were flying in. I think it was third Friday. I think it was actually Friday night before that. And we had plans to go there to see them. But unfortunately, my wife got sick that day on that grand opening day of Thursday. And we committed to drive down. It was 2 hours from where we live. We live in the Ocala area. So we drove about 2 hours south to Orlando to meet up with Dean, Fernanda, as well as John. We met him that way. And make a long story short, from ended up being, I thought was weren't the networking, ended up being a great business opportunity. We spent the afternoon with them, and it was great. It was just from that point on, it was just game over. I was sold on the idea of what the PHP was doing and what it could add to my business.
Mason, what did you share with Steven at that meeting that had him start thinking differently? Because most mortgage people that I run into. And and by the way, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, I might be off on this. Most mortgage people I know, they're always working on the next deal, processing the
Well, when they came down, they came over around 10 o'clock in the morning. I was just finishing up an appointment, and we went over to Seasons 52. What really sealed the deal was the avocado toast, because they marinate the toast in this balsamic vinaigrette, and it's just amazing. It just melts in your mouth. So that's really what happened. But no, we actually sat at the office, I say probably about 2 hours, and we just talked. Sorry about that. We just talked about what's going on in the economy. And, back in 2001, everybody was getting their real estate mortgage title license. And that's where everybody was running into. They even, say in California, 7,000 people a day were getting their real estate license. And they had to use the LA Convention Center for a licensing facility. It was that big. And then Steve and Lori were sitting there chatting away, and I asked them, how familiar are you with the insurance industry? We talked about how insurance is recession-proof. We talked about residual income, that all these companies that try residual, it all started with the insurance industry, because there's insurance companies that are 200 years old. So all that residual income came from the insurance world. We talked about how not one penny of insurance money was even lost in the recession. And then we talked about how we're different from a traditional insurance company where no shots taken, but at a traditional Allstate, you're just sitting at an office all day and it's kind of just relaxing. If you're doing a New York Life Northwestern, it's more of a just being a producer. We take more of an agency building model where we're not just writing policies helping families, but we're actually building an agency, and then we have a platform for building. And I showed them what we're doing, and they're sitting in the brand new 4,500 square foot office, which definitely helps say, hey, okay, I get it. And then literally we were there from I'd say 10 o'clock to maybe Steve about 6:30.
Yeah, we were there all day. I didn't realize that it was a whole day there. And I was like, I actually had business to do that day, and I'm like, crap, I didn't do any kind of business today.
Yeah.
The conversation, it was so exciting. You just didn't think time just passed by, and it was like electric. So we were excited from onset, and for myself, where my wife and I came to do this together. My wife, she's not keen on the mortgage business. She always thinks I overwork, I do too much time in it. And for the first time in a long time, my wife was so keen. She was super excited about this business. She's familiar with annuities. She used to do structural settlements and purchase those notes. So she was familiar how the annuities work. And surprisingly, she was really excited about a new business. And I was taken back of her excitement, which is obviously intriguing. And for myself, I'm always open to ideas. I was, like a lot of people, comfortable. I'm making good income,
What's good, bro? Give us an idea, man. Because sometimes people say good income is making 30 grand a year. Some people say making good income is 50,000 a year. Some people say good income is 6 figures a year. What's good income to a bodybuilder in the mortgage industry, man?
Well, I'm at about $250,000 is what I'm making a year right now, and it's good. But like a lot of us, we like to have fun, and we spend our money, we do things, and you're always looking for different opportunities, and that's what it is, So business is good. I've been in the mortgage industry for 16 years, so I wasn't looking to do something. Like many of us, I'm sure Nick as well, as you guys probably get calls from recruiters on a regular basis, calling, emailing, texting.
I just got one today.
Yeah. So that never stops. So as I'm a kind person, I have a small conversation with them, send me information. If I'm interested, I'll get back to you. And this was quite different. Actually, I was quite intrigued in, and it wasn't like a presentation I was expected to hear. We'll talk more about it, but it was different from the mortgage industry. And one of the things that John mentioned, which is the key part of it, is and Nick and I talk about this all the time. We're business partners. We've been doing business for about 15 years together, Nick and I.
Yeah.
So we got a good business relationship. We're like brothers from another mother. My family's Colombian, so and he's Jamaican, but still we do well with one another, and it's recession proof. That's the key to this business to us. We've been in the business. Yeah, we've been in this business for a while. We've rode it when it was high in the early 2000s, all the way to 2008. And I tell you what, when the wheels came off that bus, they came off quickly. And it was a smack in the face. And unlike other people, I had a lot of my friends. I had two offices in the mortgage industry with about 45 employees for a mortgage company that's self-employed. It wasn't bad. We were doing good income, and about the same amount of income at the end of the day, but I had much more expenses. Everything changed. Everything changed very, very quickly. And, that experience was humbling. And, certainly I was trying to learn to do something different than I did last time. And when this opportunity came across, it was exciting.
It's awesome. Hey, guys, by the way, if you guys are tuning in, I appreciate you guys logging in. But listen, sharing is caring. You're listening to the Money Smart Show. And I'm interviewing Stephen Tarasor, mortgages, Nick Watson, real estate brokerage. Obviously, John Mason, our buddy, my business partner down in Orlando, Florida. But if you're watching this right now and you share this, we're going to pick a winner at the end of this broadcast. If you're the one that shares this on people's timelines, your timeline, in the groups that you're a part of, the one that shares this the most is going to get the Entrepreneur Book Club of the Month, The 17 Indisputable Laws of Teamwork by John Maxwell. We're all reading it this month. And so if you haven't purchased this yet, you have a chance to win right here on the Money Smart Show. Make sure you share this on your timelines as you are watching. So, Stephen, let's talk about your buddy, your business partner, your brother from another mother, Nick Watson, real quick. What was your conversation like with him? And then from Nick, you take it from there.
So Even right now, speaking about it, I get chills every time I think about this industry. And it's funny because I've been in the mortgage industry for so long, but it's part of your blood. It's just monotonous. But when I talk about the insurance industry, I get excited, man. So you get the chills like you're just going into like a ball game or something, and you go to bat, and you get to swing a home run or something. So I was up here in Ocala at the time, and I actually ended up going down to South Florida, where where I grew up and my business is basically based out of. And I called him one evening and I told him what I was getting involved with, and he just started laughing. He's like, "Man, Steve, I can just hear your excitement in your voice. That I don't know what it is, but you never get this excited about things, especially new business opportunity. Because I keep it real simple. I'm a conservative guy, and even though I like to bodybuild and get in trunks in front of a lot of people, I know it's kind of a oxymoron, but I
Weenie bikini.
it's crazy. It's an oxymoron, but at the same time, he felt the energy, and it's a transfer of emotions from one person to another person, and I could hear him. He's like, "Man, whatever it is, I want to hear about it. I want to get involved with it." And I'm a believer in Christ, so my wife and I never work. I wasn't working on the weekends. My business was successful. I'm making about $250,000. So that's not working on Saturdays and Sundays. I took that for myself. So if I did work those other days, I'm sure my income would have been higher. So we were down in South Florida, actually watching Dean Mason. He was playing down in Fort Lauderdale. We went to watch Dean at a show. And after that, we were on Sunday, had some lunch with another couple in Fort Lauderdale on the water. And then I called, I already had plans with Nick that I was going to catch up with him later in the evening. So the first time in our lives in a long time, we were working on a Sunday. The day of Sabbath, when you're not supposed to work. But this business had us so excited that we were doing things that we weren't used to doing. So our brother John, he was down there as well, and we all linked up at the famous Panera in Boynton Beach, and we sat with Nick, and I'll let Nick tell the rest.
Yeah, Nick. So talk to us, brother. What happened?
When Steve first told me about what he's into, man, I immediately jumped because, like I said, I've known Steve for so many years. Steve doesn't get excited about anything. You know what I mean? Especially not that easy. And when I heard the excitement in his voice, I know it had to be something real. So, I met him I think it was on a Sunday. I met him at Panera, and we sat down. It was, Steve and Lori, and we sat down with John. They kind of break down the business and, what PHP is all about. And immediately it was like, in my mind, I'm like, this is it. This is what I'm looking for. Because, Steve's in the mortgage business. I'm in the real estate business. When something happens to the real estate market, I can go back to do a couple rentals, make some money here. But you don't make as quarter as the money that I do now than I would make, then. So I'm like to myself, this is what I've been waiting for. When the market crashed, I don't want to go back to, go to a 9 to 5 or, you know what I mean? I want to carry on something that's going to, make me a lot of money eventually and just build residuals. And this is what I've been waiting on. And Steve just opened my eyes on this. And, once I found out how PHP works and, how everybody is, how helpful everybody is, it was game over from there. And, I'm loving it so far, man.
So tell us a little bit about your background. So you're obviously a successful realtor. So tell us about your real estate background.
I've been doing real estate now for about 15 years. I started out working for a company. I stayed with them for 10 solid years. Decided to open up my own company, named it after my son, and that's correct. That's correct. I'm sorry?
How do you say that? Moore?
No, it's Ethan Moore. My son's name is Ethan, and I combined the MOUR with my government name.
Gotcha.
There you go. C Moore. I took the MOUR and added it to my son's name, Ethan. That's where Ethan Moore comes from.
Cool.
But so I've done well so far over the years. I have about 24 agents working with me. But no matter how much you make and how well business is, you can't take that for granted because anything could happen to this market, and it could happen fairly quickly. As we saw back in the day, Steve, when everything crashed. I mean, it was a nightmare back then. A lot of ramen noodles, man, a lot of ramen noodles. But I said to myself, I'm gonna figure something out, find something to supplement that income when something does happen. And this is it, man. Insurance is recession proof. Uh, as John always says, you need insurance for everything. Car insurance, home insurance, you need some type of insurance. It's so, I'm in it and I love it so far, man.
That's interesting that you say that because oftentimes people say I can't close on that real estate property
Without
all the work that you guys do to qualify for the mortgage. Real estate agents looking for the properties, you finally find it, put them on contract, and you still can't close it at the title company until you have what from a local agency?
insurance
Policy.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
There we go.
So same thing too with cars. I mean, you can't get a car off that car lot you finance. You can't drive off that car lot unless you have a car insurance policy.
Yes,
Even
sir.
at Best Buy, you buy a cell phone, they try to upgrade you on getting cell phone insurance. And it's
Yep.
imagine being a parent and the government says, well, you can't take your kid home. I mean, you can't take a kid home unless you have a car seat, a proper car seat, right, in the car, but you can drive home without life insurance.
Sounds crazy, huh?
This is kind of flipped around, man. It's kind of like my conspiracy theory thing that it's kind of the ways to keep broke people broker, middle class people back to being broke again, and the rich getting richer. John, you've been doing this now. Florida would be without you. There's a lot of people that you've been able to bless in business because of your work there in Florida by expanding and planting a route in Florida. You helped birth this company in the middle of a recession. Is the story of Nick, is the story of Steve an anomaly? Are they the only ones you've seen in the last 8 going on 9 years now that may be affected by the recession? What have you seen on the ground?
What's interesting is my partner here in Orlando, Nick Paulson. Nick's been in real estate 15 years, making a couple $100,000 a year. He was been telling me about what's going on because I spoke with Nick 8 years ago. Nick Paulson 8 years ago, and he went the real estate route. I went PHP Insurance, and the fact is that he's seen the ups and downs, and now he's obviously doing well. He's been making solid money. But what's crazy is when PHP got started in 2009. Now obviously we're celebrating our 9-year anniversary this month. We were at the bottom of the recession and things were hitting hard. And it just seemed like the company was growing faster and faster. And a lot of people that were in real estate and were in mortgage, there was almost a catch-22 where they were stuck in it because it was like crack cocaine because it's so addicting. Because when you get a big check, it makes you want to keep going back. And those big checks started drying up for a lot of people that I was talking to. But it seemed that was all they knew. They were either doing real estate for 6-7 years, and it became their identity. So rather than them separating their identity from their career, they said, well, I'm going to stick it out. And some stuck it out, and then they do nothing has anything to do with finance. But the ones that actually did adapt to the situation, like Nick and Steve did, they actually pushed through it and did pretty well, and they've recovered. But as far as getting into the insurance world, a lot of guys got in, building it up at the bottom and built up the company, not just, in Orlando and South Florida, but across the country.
So Steve, let me go back to you. I mean, you do the mortgages for Nick.
Yeah.
You introduced this concept to Nick. And Nick and you had a friendship because you guys are like peanut butter and jelly, right?
Correct.
It has to work like this. I mean, outside of the fact that the insurance industry is recession-proof, what other areas are you attracted about? Are you excited about that you got your hairs standing up on your? I mean, that's assuming you haven't shaved lately for your show, right?
Right.
What also excites you about the? I mean, what word? I be more specific. It's inevitable that the next recession will eventually hit. Don't know when, but what's going to be different about your business, your practice, that you're going to take advantage now that you didn't take advantage potentially in 0809?
For myself, one of the things that also intrigues me, besides being like the recession proof, is the
Steve, there we lost a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm going through the storm. That hurricane is going by here. The power went out a few minutes ago, and that's why I was losing the voice for you guys. But it's storming pretty hard out there right now.
You're good.
So bear with me. Nevertheless, one of the things that intrigues me is the business model. Again, the business that I'm in right now is very linear. Yes, I have somebody, an assistant working with me on my files, but it's like chasing one other transaction. Very monotonous. And what I like, it's very intriguing, is this business model, building a business, a book of business that goes with me for life. And I can build it as big and as wide and as deep as I need to. The great thing about this is that I just don't have to hear stories of it. I get to meet people like both of you guys, John and you, Matt. We sat on Saturday evening. We saw you in Orlando, and we got the opportunity to chat with you for a while. That was awesome. So it's you guys are real life people that we can come across and share with us your stories of how you got through it. And honestly, and all the people that we've met at the PHP in my short time, because I went to the big event in Vegas like 2 weeks after we signed up. So, John did a great job of getting us there, and it was good.
You saw Kevin Hart on stage?
Yeah, we sure did. We saw Kevin Hart there. It was a good show. It was awesome, And I had a lot of people ask me, man, that was awesome to get to see Kevin Hart, and it was pretty cool. So seeing all these people, seeing all these success stories, and not that I'm trying to line people up and compare myself, but that's natural when you're a competitor, and I've played sports most of my life, and that's natural to size people up, but in a humbling way, not an aggressive, nasty way. That if these people can be successful in this industry with their knowledge of it, or their lack of knowledge in business, and they're being as successful as they are, then I could do this thing really well. I just got to apply myself and follow the steps in the system. I guess that's the biggest thing. The system that Pat has outlined, and with all the people that come into it, as well as you, Matt. I know that you guys, when you and Sheena came into the business, you guys brought it to a new level. In the great success. So obviously we've got great leaders in front of us, and it's not to create how to recreate something. It's just follow the system in place that's laid out for us. And that's the biggest battle in business, trying to figure out something that works. We're coming into a program system that says if you do these things, you'll be successful in time. It's not a get rich quick, it's get rich eventually. And if I do nothing, I'm going to be in the same position working 10 years from now. So if I invest in my life today, 10 years from now, my life is looking completely different. And that's an outcome that, I had those conversations with people about mortgages, when they are doing things with their finances that aren't helping them out accomplish their goals. So I have to have those firm conversations with them. And those are the same conversations I had with myself. And those are the same conversations I had with people that are possible recruits in this business. So the businesses are similar in many areas, but it's a much greater income. Like I said earlier, I'm making about $250,000 now. I'm looking in this business over time to triple, quadruple that. I want to be in a much higher state. And it's more possible in this industry over a long period of time than it is in mine. On my end, it's much more hustling. I'm not saying it won't happen here, but I like this. And this is something that somebody that doesn't have much money can do, or run into somebody that has a lot of money. Anybody can qualify and use our benefits. And that's the intriguing part of that to me.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting when you're broadening the base of people that you want to help. So let me ask you, gentlemen, in a real estate market, both in real estate, realtor side, and the mortgage side, out of 10 people that you talk to, out of 10 people, cross section of America, 10 people you talk to, how many of them would be qualified buyers with the right credit score, the down payment, and they're ready to go for you to say, you know what, you're pre-approved, go see my boy Nick?
Yeah, I would say out of 10, maybe you get one.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I'd say it's you're gonna have you have more people that want to buy that don't have their stuff in order. And what we do, we kind of get them on a track to get them in order. I look at their stuff, their financials. I look at their income, their credit, and sometimes there's a game plan to do it with them. And we farm them out for a couple of months from now, and they'll come back to be business clients of ours in the future. But that's something that Nick and I communicate with clients. He sends me people. He's not quite sure if they're ready. And then I look at them, and we kind of work together that way as a team.
So what do most mortgage people do with the other 9 that don't qualify? What do they do?
Honestly, there's more people that want to buy today than there is houses available. So they just move on to the next person. Honestly,
They just can't qualify because financials.
Yeah, financials, and they don't give them guidance. So.
Yeah. So Nick, let's say you get that one person from Steven. Right? You meet somebody before I can take you go shopping. You thought my boy Steven. Right? And so let's even say, hey, Steve says there's one guy out of 10. He's qualified. He's pre-approved. Go shopping. How long does it take for you to take that interested, qualified, pre-approved customer and go find some property and then finally, eventually sell? What's the time frame?
Are we talking about somebody that's not too picky or just regular? Don't even get me started on, because if the person's picky, it's over. It might take me 6 months, but let's just go regular. I find a house, bing bang boom, a month and a half, 2 months before you get a paycheck.
So you have to find somebody that's not picky. You got to find somebody that's not picky. That says, let me go do them. By the way, would you agree that men probably buy real estate more differently than women would, or married couples?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it still takes you 30 to 45 days, even if they're not picky, they're ready to go today to close on a property.
Yeah, I mean, and the 30, 45 days, that's just the loan process. That's not even me looking. If they're super quickie and I find it bing bang boom, it's 45 days. But if you're dealing with somebody who wants to look at 5, 10 houses, it's not only that. By the time you find a house, make the offer, negotiate the terms, go back and forth, you might talk about another week or 2, or you might not find a house. And 45 days might turn to 2 months, 2.5, 3 months.
And are you getting paid in the process, Nick?
No, sir.
So you hopefully have some money saved up from the last deal to put some gas in a tank to pay the bills.
There you go. That's where insurance comes into play.
Right. Exactly. So talk to us about that. Where does insurance come into play?
Well, those 9 people that didn't qualify, what I'm thinking, and this is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is my logic. Doesn't matter whether it's the 9 people, everybody that I touch, whether they qualify or not, those could be my insurance market as well. If they don't get approved for a house, we can always sell them an insurance policy. And that's why it's going to be easy both for me and Steve to get people. We don't have to go out and pound on doors and send out mailers and all that stuff. We already have these people coming to us. So those 9 people who didn't qualify for a mortgage, they also need insurance. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking too as well. So those 9 people, we market them. We say, hey, by the way, you didn't qualify for a mortgage. By the way, I could put you in a rental and fix your credit in the meantime to get you qualified. Also, which is one service I do as well. And I also can sell you an insurance policy. Let's protect your family, just in case something happens,
Yep, exactly. Well, guys, listen, I mean, what would as we wrap up the show, what would be your final thoughts? Mason, actually, we'll go back to Steven, back to Nick, and we'll go to John to wrap up.
Okay.
What would your guidance and advice? I mean, there's somebody out there, and I can't imagine, just like in the insurance industry, but I can't imagine every person in the mortgage industry or everybody in real estate or mortgage is doing well all the time. No. So what words of guidance, advice would you say? You know what? You might want to consider the insurance industry. We want to expose it on the show today because we want you to consider what the insurance industry does, because it's never been exposed the way it is being exposed today through PHP. So what words of guidance would you give your fellow colleagues in the mortgage industry?
What I would say to anybody in the mortgage or real estate industry is a clear fact that this business that we're in currently, it moves along with the market. You have your highs and your lows, and what we don't want is, and I go back to the feeling. I go back to 2008. Everybody remembers 2008, especially in South Florida where we live. and market. South Florida is one of the hardest hit markets in the state of Florida. I personally had a property that lost $500,000 in value that year. So it's very humbling. And if you paint the pictures back to them, they remember it very vividly, because it was pretty crappy for all of us. And then what I suggest is, like, I set myself for success, so that way I won't have those experiences I had in the past. And what I want to do is share those things with you, because I know that you guys can apply and use this benefit as well. Plus, anybody we come across is a candidate for one of our policies as regard an IUL, in regard to savings, and a plan for them, annuities in regard to the 401ks, pensions, they're getting ready to retire. I mean, there's so many different avenues that we can make money. And if we diversify ourselves, then at one time we'll figure out where one business makes more money than the other. And I've had that conversation with Pat. When do I know when to leave the mortgage industry? He said, it'll come. You'll figure it out one day. It'll come one day. But one thing for sure, I'm going to be working hard, diligently on both businesses. So, an entrepreneur doesn't have a set schedule. You work as late as it is. And sometimes it's quite often I'm on the phone or working till midnight or past midnight on the computer doing one thing or another.
Man, I love it, Stephen. I appreciate that. Nick, what about you? What would you say to other real estate agents out there, or real estate brokers like yourself, about the insurance industry?
My honest opinion, man, and I've assessed this. I've been assessing it. This is something that real estate brokers, real estate agents should get into. It is recession proof. I know what it feels like. Steve knows what it feels like. And I know a lot of realtors and brokers knows what it feels like to chase behind a deal. You have to chase, you close a deal, after waiting a month and a half for a paycheck to get another one. We're always chasing a deal. Then when the market crashes, what are we doing? Especially if this is all you do, this is your only source of income, you have to diversify. When real estate dies, and it dies for some period of time, I mean, man, I lost a lot of stuff. Steve could tell you, we both talk about it all the time. Man, I mean, I was driving around the '02 Honda Accord for the longest. I mean, nothing about the Honda Accord, but I mean, what I had before, I had to turn in all my stuff, man. I lost a lot of property, and I couldn't go to South Beach every week like I used to anymore. But and I said to myself, man, I got to do something. But back to insurance, it's recession proof. It's been around for years, man. You know what I mean? It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere at all. And I'm not saying real estate is going anywhere, but it does this. It's one of those. Insurance is here to stay. It's forever. It's not going anywhere. Residual. When you do a real estate deal, you don't get paid again on the deal ever. It's done. Insurance, you do it once, you get paid as long as the policy is enforced. It's amazing. I love it. I mean, if I had to go back and do this, I would actually do insurance first and then get into everything else that I do after. Because insurance is more long term, but the money just keeps coming. The money just keeps coming. So if I knew better, I would have gotten into insurance first and then get into real estate and mortgages and all that good stuff. But insurance, man, you got to do it. It's the way to go.
Profound stuff, man. Profound answers, responses for both you gentlemen. Mason, what would you say, brother?
I would say for realtors, mortgage people looking at the insurance world, one, you always hear, if you can improve something about your current situation with real estate, mortgage, the business, what's one thing you want to improve? They say stability. Highs are high, lows are low. I'll have a 40, 50,000 a month, 3 months, nothing's else, nothing, everything's dried up. One thing about insurance is that it's stable. The stability of weekly checks. In PHP, we get paid Tuesdays and Friday. We get paid twice a week. Most people get paid once or maybe twice a month. We get paid 8 times a month on average. That's number one. Two, the speed of pay. Now there's insurance policies, life insurance, retirement plans that don't require any blood work or fully underwritten. I wrote a policy, I think last Friday, and literally got issued today. It's so fast, so the client doesn't have to go through the headaches they used to have to go through. Now they get a policy quickly, and as an agent, we also get compensated quickly for that. Next thing I would say is linear versus exponential growth. where if you're a real estate agent mortgage or a general insurance agent, you have to get a license. Well, with PHP, we have to get our insurance license. We call it a 215 in the state of Florida. It's a life health annuity, different states. In real estate, you have to get a license, etc. However, to be where Nick Watson is as a broker, to start recruiting and training his agents with real estate, there's typically a 2-year waiting period, more licensing, etc. With insurance, it's no waiting. There's no 2-year waiting. What took him 2 years to start recruiting, I could be recruiting from day one.
Yep.
And then there are some real estate companies that kind of try to adapt that model, but it only goes one layer. And you want to be able to compound that, where if I worked for Nick and I want to go become my own real estate broker, Nick loses his override.
That's it.
So with the building model, with an agency building model, if Nick trains me and teaches me to be as good or better than him, and I want to go open up my own branch, Nick will have a permanent financial vested interest to help me become successful, because he's going to override everything I do the rest of my life. So there's a retention challenge in the real estate mortgage business that we don't have to deal with. You can recruit somebody, high five, you don't make any money. You got to train them, get a license, teach them to sell clothes, and then get paid. But you want to be able to keep these guys around long term. So we're retaining people long term because of that comp plan. And we always joke about the best ride in Orlando is not a Disney; it's called an override. Override. So we have leverage in the recruiting model, where most people don't understand recruiting and building. But if you're a mortgage broker or real estate broker, you're like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to go recruit agents. There's a Keller Williams in Lake Nona here. It's got over 200 agents working for the broker. I'm like, that's a nice number. That guy's so they understand leverage. Also, I would say the options. Now, the insurance companies do all the marketing for us. The average, realtor spends $20,000-$30,000 plus a year just on marketing to put together material. I can go to nationallifegroup.com right now, or different A-rated insurance companies. They have all the materials I need already. They'll send free stuff to me. And one of the things is they talk a lot about now is called mortgage protection. So, when you buy the house, how do you stay in the house? Every company offers mortgage. It's just life insurance. It's just marketed differently. So what people are learning is through education, there are other options out there, but I have to look at it a little differently, where there's a flyer that all these insurance companies have that says mortgage protection on it. And they'll design it just for that. So
what's PMI? What's PMI, Steve? What's PMI? Private
mortgage.
Insurance.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right, Mace. I mean, but who's it go to? It goes to the mortgage company, not the family.
No,
correct.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish out, Mace.
No, so with the mortgage protection that Nick, that Steve, that anyone that's in our world can offer, when the family or the benefit or the owner of the policy does pass away, those funds will go to the beneficiary, not the bank, not the mortgage company. And it's a great way of creating wealth, because insurance is a wealth accumulation tool. And that's why we talk about the top 5+% do it, because 85% of high net worth CEOs of Fortune 500 companies utilize permanent life insurance. Most people don't understand how it works, so they read this book or they listen to this guy and he said don't do this. Okay, show me all the facts. Like, remember that thing? Show me the Carfax. Show me the Carfax. So when 85% of Fortune 500 CEOs utilize a tool, I just want to know what it is. And there's all these proxy statements and things that these guys are doing, and they're using life insurance because a term policy is nice to cover some benefits. But 98% of the time, term policies lapse or go away. A permanent policy, there's 4 different types. Well, no matter what, as long as that premium's paid, is going to be guaranteed tax-free money to go to the family, put that inside of a trust, let the trust give instructions that 60% of the money will be reinvested into more insurance and take out whatever it is, but it keeps generating wealth long-term as long as you do the plan the right way. And that's the benefit and power of our industry. And people that are in real estate and mortgage already have access and already are having the conversation about money and finances to get into the house. Now there's a way to keep them in the house.
Gentlemen, tons of value you guys shared. And guys, for those of you watching this, they say, you know what? It makes sense. We talk about the 4 steps to create wealth. And what are those 4 steps? You got to learn sales. You got to learn entrepreneurship. You got to pick the right industry. And number 4, you got to pick the right platform. I believe in this show, we did talk about the 3. What we didn't talk about was the right platform. I don't have time to talk about this on this show, but if you guys are looking for for the dots to connect. I said, you know what, makes sense. It makes sense that these professionals making big money, the Stevens of the world, the Nick Watsons of the world, these guys are already making big money. Why would they even consider the cousin of financial services, of the financial industry, which is the life insurance and annuity industry? Why would they have been widely considering integrating that? Well, that's covered during this live stream. Another aspect of it also is, if you guys are looking for a company to partner with, you say, Matt, it makes sense. If I'm a mortgage person, I'm a real estate person, maybe I need to find a company to partner with. And I know a lot of our competitors are probably watching this right now. They're probably using this. And I just want you guys to know, if you want to build an agency in the insurance industry, now everybody's going to argue who's got the best comp plan. Well, we can arguably say we've got the best comp plan. We got the math to prove it. That we got the people to show that makes the money to prove it too as well. But I want you guys to know that if you have any questions about comp plan, I'll be posting a link. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll be posting a link on compensation in the description below, in addition to the other conversation we could be having as well on why this company in your area, we're in all 49 states. However, with that being said, we just found out we're not just in all 49 states. You know somebody in the last state we're not in, Mason?
Yeah. So Steve and Lori's cousin does very well, running several businesses up in Montana. We're like, wait, no one lives in Montana. Like, oh no, because they're Native American, and they actually have family.
Yes.
They're like, whoa. So we're gonna be getting to Montana now. So we're gonna cross that state off.
Awesome, man. So we're in all states, including Puerto Rico. Obviously, John, you're in Orlando. You guys are in Ocala, right? Ocala, Florida.
Yeah, but we're going to be relocating back to South Florida, down to the Boynton Beach area, Boca Raton area.
Gotcha. Very cool. Nick, you moving down with him?
No, I'm already in Boynton Beach.
I got it.
I'm already here.
I got it, man. Oh, you're already there.
He keeps going in and out. I think he's having some issues with the storm.
Yeah.
But one quick thing I want to say, guys, too, man. We both do well, Steve. We make great money, but guess what? We're still striving to get to diversify and do bigger things and make more money. No matter how much money you make, that doesn't matter. It's what you save. That's the key. And with this insurance thing, it's long term, man. It keeps coming. And I'm pumped about it, man. I really am.
That's it. Awesome, man. Well, gentlemen, thank you for your time. I know you got to get back to growing your business. And guys, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. We'll get back to you. And also, we're going to get back to you guys. Some people are asking, Matt, what type of publications can I read more about the insurance industry? This is the last 2 months of Insurance Newsnet magazine. These are the last 2 months of Insurance Newsnet magazine. And guess the last 2 months who's been profiled with inside the magazine is our CEO, Patrick Bet-David. Many have seen on Valuetainment, literally the #1 channel for entrepreneurs on YouTube, nearing 1 million subscribers coming up. And he just spoke here in Chicago a few weeks ago in the Insurance Newsnet Super Conference. And he was representing not only our company, but representing a disruption. They called him an industry disruptor. That is our CEO, Patrick Bet-David. And PHP Agency is turning 9 years old here in the next couple of weeks. And we're excited about that. And we're still a very young company. And therein lies the opportunity. And so with that being said, guys, thank you for your time, man. You guys have been very helpful.
Absolutely.
Man, thanks for having us.
All right. Awesome. Guys, if you're looking for a community that wants to help you transform the way you think, feel, manage, and reach towards financial independence, consider staying connected to the Money Smart Show, where people want to know more, people are willing to be more, but more importantly, people are willing to do more. That being said, until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be money smart today. Have a good day.